Do you find yourself constantly forgetting things or having to write things down on little pieces of paper that can also get lost, or in a variety of places trying to get more organized? My name is Daniel from Twin Bytes, and I'm going to be talking about Microsoft To Do application, which can run on your computer and your smartphone and can help you be a lot more productive. So stick around. So I was introduced to Microsoft To Do program by a client of mine, John Webster, who is a publisher of Healthy Living Magazine and Wedding Essentials. So I'll link that down below. And I found that this was really great because, of course, like the old saying goes, that the shoemaker is the last person to ever get his shoes fixed and that sort of thing. I am not taking care of myself as far as my own technology goes as much as I could be. So trying to look at what is new constantly while staying on top of serving my customers can be a challenge. So having something like the To Do app, it really helps me to stay more productive. So I'm going to show you this here. So on my screen, I've got the To Do program open, and I'm not going to really show you, of course, any of my personal stuff. But the day right now is empty. There's nothing added in here. And it has a few categories by default that are up here. The bottom half under the line here is personal categories that you can create. And it has a number beside each one to let me know how many tasks that I have in each one. So if we start from the top, on my account, I can go to manage accounts if you have more than one, or you can go into settings and choose a few options that they have here. First of all is, if you used to use Wunderlist, you can import your lists and tasks from that program, because this is taking over from Wunderlist. And there's a few general settings here, and I think they're pretty self-explanatory. When you add in a task, it'll automatically go to the top, or you can have it go into the bottom. It'll also have, if you have a star on the task as important, to move that to the top. And then there's sound effects and confirmation of deleting. You can have some shortcuts and even the color scheme here. There's also smart lists. So you can mark something as important and it'll put it in its own category of things. So if you wanted to look at what is important between all the lists that you have, then they'll all show up in there. Also, if you have something scheduled with a time, there's a planned category, and if someone assigns you tasks, then it will go into this category. So these are all smart categories that they have, or smart lists, and you can turn them on or off here. Have it automatically hide those lists if they're empty. And there's reminder notifications and shared list activity notifications. And by default it is synced, so I'm not even sure why that would even be there, but it is online, so you have to have a Microsoft account. It does sync to the cloud, and it does give you the ability to have the app on your phone, in which case you're going to be able to see all the same information on your phone. So let's go back to our main screen. So going through each one of these, you have your important tasks, your planned tasks. Now the planned ones, it sorts it by the time. So I've got ones that are earlier here. I've got a couple of tasks, and I've got these starred as well because they're also important. And the ones that are due tomorrow, and then from a certain date range here, and then later. So it categorizes them by time that you have them planned. And there's the ones that are assigned to you, and of course I don't have any assigned to me at this time. And then you got your list of overall tasks. There's the personal categories that you would list, and it'll be the same as your tasks, but it's your own ones that you would use. So I'm going to create a new list here. If I click on that, and I'm going to call this training. So we'll use that here. Now whichever list you click on, you go down here to where it says add a task, click in there and type in something, and it's going to put it into that list. And now I can just press enter and it'll go in here, but there's a few other options here as well. You can add a to-do date, a reminder, and have it on repeat. But what I'm going to do is just press enter first, and it puts it in the list. So it's in here. You can put a check mark to toggle it as done, and of course it gives a little sound effect. And if I did that by accident or decided that it's not quite done, I can click it again to remove that. So it doesn't delete it yet. If I wanted to delete it, I could right click on it, and there's an option at the bottom to delete that task. It also gives me several other options in here. So I can right click and say add to my day, and it says here star my day. So if I go back to my day view, then I can show me all the tasks that are due for this day between all the various lists that I have. So from here I can also mark it as done and do all these things. So I can right click again, I can remove it from my day if I don't want it to be there. I can mark it as important here, which will be the same thing as clicking over here to star it. So now this star is filled in. So I can click on that to remove it, or click it back on to add it, or right click and say remove importance. So you can do it two different ways. All the other options are hidden in here. So besides the mark as important on the right and then mark as completed, which is over here, the remove from my day is because it's in my day already. You can mark a due date from here, say today, tomorrow, or pick a date. So we can go in here and say this is due Monday, and we'll save that, and now it's got a date. And because it's planned, it's under the plan section here now. And here, between this date range, here's my to-do right there. I'm going to go back to my day and right click again. So if I decided I don't really want to have a due date for this, this can be done anytime. I can just click that to remove the date so the date's not there. I can move the task to any other task list, and of course the delete we already looked at. Now something else that you can do is if you left click on this, it gives you the options over to the right with a few more options. So we've already seen some of these where you've got the add to my day, setting a date, assigning it. Here you can add a file, which you can click in and just browse to find a folder or file. You can add a note. Aside from adding a note, we can actually at the bottom too, we've got created 2 minutes ago. At the top it says the name of the task that I called it, and within this task you can add steps, and there could be a variety of steps that you may need to take in order to accomplish this. So my first step might be plan and document, and step 2 may be prepare for video shoot, and then finally is edit and publish. So there's multiple steps in that, and if I want to get out of this, just clicking on the task again, or clicking on if you click on another task, it will show that sidebar for the other task. I'm going to create another sample task. So if I click on this one, it shows the sample task there, and if I click on this one, it shows the other task with the steps that are required for this. So here it shows 0 of 2. So I can actually check off this saying that I've done that first step, and this is actually in showing 1 of 2, and I did have 3 steps, and I didn't save it because I didn't hit enter. There, so I press enter, so it saved it in there. So I've done that in preparing for the video shoot. I have done that, so I check that off. So it's showing 2 of 3 done. If I want to switch to another task, it shows me the options for that task, or just click that same task again and that goes away. So this is all of the options available for any given task. One other thing I want to point out here is you can see the task category that it's in. So the sample task went in under tasks because I added that from the My Day view, and it defaults to going to tasks in this list. This other one for training, it went into the training folder because I went to the training list category first and added it, so it went straight in there. If I wanted to move these, I can do that, but something I want to point out first is for assigning these things. I'm on this particular task here, and there's a link to assign to. If I click on this one, there is no option to assign a task, and that's because it's in the main task list. So we need to take that out of there and put it into any one of these personally created task categories. So I can right click on that, move the task to another category. So I'll put this maybe in the personal one. So it's now in personal, and if I click on that, I now have the option to assign the task, and I can click on that and create an invitation link and email it to that person. And it tells you here as well that when you invite them and they've joined, you'll be able to see them in this list, so you can see who was invited and who has access to that task, and you can revoke the access permissions at a later time if you decide to. And anyone that has a Microsoft account in that link can join and edit that list. So it's not password protected, so it's just if they have access to that link. So it is pretty well open, so if anyone got a hold of that link, they could edit it. So if someone intercepted that email, they could go in there and start modifying it. But it's not like they have access to your entire database of tasks. They only have access to that one task that you were sending the link to, and they have to have that exact link. If you want to customize the look a little bit, there is the 3 dots up in the top to edit the list, and that list that you're in, you can change from various background colors or themes, whatever it is that you'd like. And you can from here change as well how it's sorted by importance or by the due date that you put, if it's completed or not, by alphabetical order, or the creation date. You can hide the completed tasks. You can print the list that you have or email the entire list to somebody, and you can also pin this list to the start menu. So that is pretty much the entire program. If you haven't started using it yet, I would highly recommend that you use this. It's great for personal or business use, and it syncs to your phone, so you can see what the options that I have in here as well, being for business and personal. You can keep track of your shopping lists, books that you want to read, courses to take, all kinds of stuff that you want to try and remember that doesn't have a scheduled date for to put in your calendar. So it's just something that you want to track and think that at some point in time you'd like to accomplish this task. So let me know how you think you might be able to make use of this to-do list in the comments below. Give it a thumbs up if you found this helpful, subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned for our future videos. Alright, thanks so much guys, and we'll talk to you later. Bye for now.